The Applied Research Center, ARC, is a racial justice think tank that changes the rules through research, advocacy, and journalism. 26 years ago, Gary Delgado started ARC as a companion to the Center for Third World Organizing, C2, which had just opened its doors as a training center for communities of color. The new research outfit was meant to provide the facts and the ideas that feed a movement's strategies. While Ronald Reagan capitalized on his own myth of the Black welfare queen, ARC published Surviving America, a guide to the nation's welfare programs. While Reagan busted unions and privatized public services, ARC produced working papers on non-citizen voting rights and on the effects of the growing service industry on communities of color. In 1990, Gary devoted himself to reinventing ARC as a source of political education as well as research, studying not just what needed to be changed, but also the inner workings of the movement itself. ARC soon became known as the place where research hit the road. Early on, ARC took on the growing diversity training industry, questioning the strategy of ending racism by changing individual attitudes. Then we challenged how community is defined, and we argued for a stronger role for ideas in organizing. ARC started the Action Education Program, training dozens of organizers to design popular learning opportunities for their members. As events took place, ARC responded. When an all-white jury acquitted Rodney King's attackers, ARC and C2 collaborated on a year-long process to build a platform for change, starting with 5 grassroots groups researching their own police departments across the country. When Ward Connerly attacked affirmative action in California, we helped start Californians for Justice. ARC Associate Director Jan Adams took a leave of absence to run the No on 209 campaign. As conservatives got serious about privatizing public schools, ARC started a new network to expose racism and advance school excellence. Groups in 14 states graded racial equity in their school districts using our automated computer program. The network stood against exit exams, predicting that they would prevent qualified students of color from graduating high school, and we called out racial profiling in school discipline practices. ARC was the first to consider the effects of abstinence-only sex education on teens of color. After Bill Clinton signed welfare reform into law, ARC started the Welfare Advocacy Research Project to document race and gender discrimination in the new system. We surveyed 1,000 welfare applicants and published original stories about the realities of the reform. With C2's network of welfare rights groups, we challenged foundations and researchers to reconsider supporting a policy that robbed poor families of both income and rights. After September 11, ARC set up public hearings on civil liberties violations against immigrants, and we studied the advocacy capacity of immigrant communities. ARC sought allies globally when we worked on the United Nations' first review of racism in the U.S., and we took a delegation of organizers to the World Conference Against Racism in South Africa. We ventured into media production with Color Lines, which came out of a merger of ARC and C2 publications. Color Lines immediately won the Utne Readers Award for Best New Magazine and has become known for its sharp analysis, original reporting, and cultural coverage. For all this time, ARC's commitment to being a multiracial, multi-generational organization has not changed. Dozens of young people have cycled through the staff and board, finding members and lifelong friends. Color Lines has given new writers of color their earliest bylines, and young people have been trusted with the most important jobs in the organization. We have also helped to start and support a whole new generation of groups. Today, ARC's 5 programs operate out of offices in Oakland, Chicago, and New York. In 2006, ARC's board appointed Rinku Sen the new executive director and president. We continue to work with partners to produce important research, and our media strategy has expanded to include books, videos, and blogging. Our public policy program has set a racial justice standard for legislation. Our Racial Justice Leadership Institute focuses on the institution rather than the individual. And the participants leave not just feeling good, but with action plans that are both radical and practical. We convene an annual national conference that gathers hundreds of people to exchange ideas, particularly the notion that racial justice is possible to achieve. In our second quarter century, ARC has pledged to become the country's home for racial justice activism of all kinds. No matter who sits in the White House, we now have a country in which torture and racial profiling are considered the price of safety, in which poverty rates are rising for everyone, in which racial discrimination leads thousands to their deaths every year. At the same time, however, we have young people radicalized by blackface parties on college campuses, millions of immigrants taking to the streets and reflecting on how racism affects them, and thousands of new activists joining the fight every year. As the struggle grows in scale and scope, so too does the Applied Research Center.